organizations are looking inwards and re-evaluating their core functions to adapt to this new landscape.
A very warm good morning, everyone. On behalf of Zimar, the HR Association of School of Human Resource Management, XIM University, I, Jahanvi Saluja, and my colleague Dwipayan Mishra, first-year students of School of Human Resource Management, extend a warm welcome to you all for Kshitij 2022. I would like to acknowledge the presence of some of our eminent guests today. We have with us Father S. Anthony Raj S.J., Registrar, XIM University, Dr. Shantanu Rath, President, NHRDN Bhubaneswar Chapter, and Director, Orissa Water Academy, who will be joining us in the post-lunch session, Dr. B.K. Das, Director General, Electronics and Communication System, DRDO, Dr. Sunil Singh, CHRO, Stellar Value Chain Private Limited, and founder and CEO, Mindstream Consulting, Ms. Bobby Patnaik, Vice President, NHRDN Bhubaneswar Chapter and HR Business Leader, Infosys, Dr. Andrew Datta, respected Dean of School of Human Resource Management, XIM University. I now request the dignitaries to kindly be seated on the dais. It is also our privilege to welcome our esteemed panel members, Ms. Renu Bohra, Chief People Officer, India and the Indian Subcontinent, DB Schenker, India Private Limited, Mr. Satish Mahapatra, VP and Head HR, Siemens Smart Infrastructure, Mr. Amitabh Singh, Head Business HR, Leadership and Capability Development, ICICI Bank, Ms. Lipika Verma, Vice President, Rewards and Performance, Innovation and Thought Leadership, Schneider Electric. I would also like to take this opportunity to welcome our moderator, Dr. G.P. Rao, Founder, Good People Relations, HR Consulting LLP, and our esteemed guests from NHRDN Bhubaneswar Chapter, respected deans of other schools of XIM University, faculty members, case competition teams, members of the media, and other guests who have been invited in this event today, and my dear seniors and batchmates. I take the privilege to welcome you all to this grand event.
Kshitij 2022 is the annual flagship event of Zimar, which brings together illustrious leaders from the field of HR under one roof to discuss the current trends in HR, generating engaging and unique insights. The event bridges the gap between academia and industry by enabling the students to acquaint themselves with real-time industry practices, thereby enlightening the inquisitive and young minds. In an attempt to carry forward the legacy, we have come up with yet another topical theme. The theme for this year's Kshitij is Changing Work and Workplace Implications for Businesses. The relationship between employees and workplace is changing in ways such that organizations need to invest seriously in helping people navigate through their vision of the hybrid workplace and the changes it is bringing to the physical workplace. We will first dive deep into the topic to understand the implication for businesses brought around by changing work and workplaces through a stimulating panel discussion between eminent industry leaders who are here with us today to invigorate our young minds with
Recording
their
in
insights.
progress.
We are very grateful to them for taking the time out of their busy schedules to address our students. We will learn more about our speakers as we proceed to the panel discussion. Following the panel discussion, we will have a case study competition to understand the underlying dynamics of changing work and workplace, wherein 11 teams will present their solutions to the problem statement.
I request Dr. Moshmi Pari, Associate Dean, School of Human Resource Management, to kindly welcome our guests by presenting a sapling. I now invite the dignitaries on the dais to mark the beginning of this year's Kshitij by lighting the auspicious lamp that symbolizes knowledge and wisdom.
शुभं कुरु त्वां कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वां कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वां कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः दीपज्योतिर्परं ब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परं ब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपो हरतु मे पापं सन्ध्यादीपनमस्तु ते
Thank you all. Special thanks to Ms. Arundhati Das for the shloka chanting. I would now request Dr. Andrew Datta, Dean, School of Human Resource Management, XIM University, to deliver the opening address.
Thank you, Janvi and Deepayan. Respected Vice Chancellor, XIM University, Father Anthony R. Uveri, SJ, in absentia. Our Registrar, Father S. Anthony Raj, SJ. Chief Finance Officer, Father V. Arokyadas, SJ, in absentia. All the respected dignitaries on the dais for the day, invited panelists and moderator, faculty colleagues and students. It is my great honor to make the opening remarks on Kshitij 22 with the theme Changing Work and Workplace Implications for Business. Kshitij is the country's premier MBA HRM student event, and this year with the NHRD Network Bhubaneswar chapter as co-creator and partner for Kshitij 22, the Indian HR fraternity is all set to witness some of the finest brainwaves that will permeate the HR space in the next few hours. As I stand here to give my opening remarks, I find that the pre-pandemic world of work was politely predictable. Today's post-pandemic world of work is heading towards unplanned but guaranteed disruptions. Let us look at two reports. The Living Planet report, published this year by World Wide Fund and the Zoological Society of London, points out that since 1970 till date, we human beings have wiped out 69% of world animal population. And as I am speaking, we continue to clear forests, consume beyond the limits of the planet, and pollute on an industrial scale. So in my view, the changing work and workplace is now no longer within the small ambit of cosmetic sustainability initiatives and fashionable OD interventions of the traditional HR. The changing work and workplace will be a function of the ecological imbalances that will alter human lives, livelihood, and businesses in another 5 to 10 years. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences have predicted significant climate catastrophes, given the fact that weather modification technologies are being used by a few rogue nations as warfare techniques. In the words of Dr. Luke Kemp at the University of Cambridge's Center for Study of Existential Risk, I quote, "Paths to disaster are not limited to the direct impacts of high temperatures, such as extreme weather events. Knock-on effects, such as financial crisis, conflict, and new disease outbreaks could trigger other calamities," unquote. How today's HR will prepare and protect against these knock-on effects will determine how the fortunes of corporations rise or fall. The world of work for people resources and HR managers will have to be acculturated to manage the meaningful lives of employees amid such ecological imbalances and natural catastrophes. And these will not be one-off events. If you can keep account of the number of cyclones that started in the Bay of Bengal in the last 5 years and hit the Indian East Coast, you will surely understand why one country is so keen on taking control over South China Sea and what it means for our businesses, logistics, politics, military, and probable human resource crisis. The changing work and workplace cannot remain immune from such targeted chaos, and the HR field will have to rise far above the simplistic modalities of rewards and motivational tactics or short-term people initiatives. There are fundamental changes that have already started taking shape in the world of work that requires radical changes in the way we manage business and people. Incremental changes will be outpaced by disruptions. In the words of Blair Shepard, global leader, strategy and leadership development at PwC, I quote, "For students, it's not just about acquiring knowledge, but about how to learn. For the rest of us, we should remember that intellectual complacency is not our friend and that learning is a lifelong endeavor," I unquote. The domain of HR and people operations must give up reactionary incremental changes and build in programs that are preemptive of global disruptions that impact the lives of their employees, or better still, organizational members. Automations and machines are replacing many jobs. Many people think that only the poor and uneducated are being replaced. The fact is that in a few years, everyone will be replaceable. Artificial intelligence is today's history. Today's reality is assisted intelligence. Tomorrow's reality is augmented intelligence. And the near future belongs to autonomous intelligence, where adaptive continuous intelligence systems take over decision making. Does the HR of today know what that would mean for work and workplace changes? Are we shaping young minds to manage and drive that reality? HR professionals will therefore have to balance and trade off between business fragmentation and corporate integration, and manage at the same time focus on individual wants and work-life customization versus prevalence of common good without losing an eye on fairness and equality. Organizations and individuals will race to give consumers what they want. Innovation will outpace regulation. Digital platforms will give outsized reach and influence to those with a winning idea. Specialists and niche profit makers will only flourish. This will be the nature of changing workplace and work, my friends. I sincerely hope that this Kshitij 22 will mark the eye-opening of the HR fraternity to gear up and be prepared for the tidal changes that have already started taking shape in work and workplace. On behalf of the School of HRM and XIM University, I wish each one of you a successful Kshitij 22 and a warm welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. Now, I invite Father S. Anthony Raj S.J., respected Registrar, XIM University, to please deliver the welcome and the inaugural address.
Respected Dean, Professor Andrew Datta, respected Associate Dean, Professor Maushmi, respected Faculty Coordinator for the event, Professor Shubhra, respected dignitaries on the dais, respected NHRDN team members represented here by, at this moment, by Ms. Bobby Patnaik, faculty colleagues from the School of Human Resource Management, respected deans from other schools, faculty colleagues from other schools of our XIM University, friends from the media, my dear students, especially the students who have come both offline and online for the case competition. In the name of our Vice Chancellor and on behalf of the entire academic community of XIM University, it is my privilege and honor to welcome each one of you, especially the guests, the keynote speakers, the two keynote speakers, our esteemed panelists and the moderator, and each one of you to this event, Kshitij 22, on the theme, Changing Work and Workplace Implications for Business. First of all, my gratitude and a warm welcome to the NHRDN Bhubaneswar chapter. We have a long association with XIM University and the School of Human Resource Management. We thank you for your long association with us, and especially in sponsoring the case competitions this year, case study competitions this year. My gratitude and congratulations also to our Zimar team, Kadambari and the rest of the 10, Arushi, Nivya, Harshita, Harshit, Pallavi, Prerna, Soumya, Bhargavi, Piyush, Akshaya, and all those who worked behind the scenes for putting this event together. Now, we also need to thank our sponsors, the Indian Oil and the MCL, who have been very supportive in this particular event. We also welcome all those who registered for the case study competition, the 700 registrations, and 11 teams which reached the final round, and the 3 teams and 2 could not make it in offline mode, who have joined us at this event. we welcome each one of you. The Dean of our school, Professor Andrew Datta, has very elaborately and very minutely has laid before us what could be the implications for the ever-changing work and the workplace, implications for business. Now, I'm not going to dwell more on that. If change is the only constant, the skill to adapt to this ever-changing reality is the key to survive and thrive in both life and career. So, if at all we do something in a business school, and especially in the School of Human Resource Management, it is to hone your skill to bring to that level of adaptability, adapting to the changes. And we are all too aware of the changes that the COVID syndemic has brought into our life, in the way we live, in the way we work, in the way we recreate. And therefore, especially in the light of what is happening, Professor Andrew very clearly said about the climatic changes, climate changes, and what it means, what it could mean for businesses. We need to look at all the extraneous circumstances and possibly even the internal reasons that are very, very intrinsic to businesses themselves that could call us, challenge us to adapt to such changes. I'm sure all our interactions will be very, very productive, and the case study competitions will give us not only the problem statements, but also bring about those answers which we seek at this moment. And therefore, my sincere wishes and my prayers for the success of this event. God bless us all.
Thank you, Father, for your kind words. I would like to introduce to you all Ms. Bobby Patnaik, who is an HR business leader at Infosys and also holds the position of Vice President, NHRDN Bhubaneswar Chapter. Ms. Patnaik works with Infosys as HR business leader, managing close to 10,000 employees across the globe for the entire spectrum of HR programs. In addition, she manages HR for the top 55 large and complex business accounts of the organization. She also spearheads the Gender Equity and Inclusivity Program for Infosys India. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. I would cordially invite Ms. Patnaik to give us an overview on the topic for the day.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, esteemed members on the dais and off the dais. I'm no authority on the subject matter at hand for the event today, and I would leave it to the gracious presence of our august dignitaries who are going to be here on the dais for the panel discussion to do the honors. So in my mind, there are 3 events in this month which are kind of the highlight, at least for me. The first one, of course, was the India-Pakistan match where India beat Pakistan in a nail-biting finish. I'm no cricket aficionado myself, but it was impossible to miss the feverish excitement and the hype and the nail-biting finish when Virat Kohli was finishing off the last balls with a flourish. The second, of course, and I know Twitter is going berserk over this, and the jury is still out on this one, is obviously the fact that Rishi Sunak, somebody of Indian origin, becoming the UK Premier. And I know the memes are all over the place, but I'm personally very happy, and not the least because, like somebody said on Twitter, Rishi and I go back a long way. I used to work for his father-in-law's company. So I said, by that logic, I still work for his father-in-law's company. So we go back, still longer. But jokes aside, while different people have different opinions, I'm happy about it. And last but not the least, of course, the bird got freed yesterday, like most of you saw, right? Of course, there are downstream impact of the same, right, with CXO heads rolling off, but we'll leave that for another day. But Elon Musk freeing Twitter, as he said, was the other highlight. I was thinking to myself when I was coming, and it's a long ride, like I was telling Shubhra, I need a move at the end of the day from XUV, but I'm just kidding. But I was thinking to myself that, with the kind of disruption that is going around, the collaboration that we're talking about today between NHRD and XUV, does collaboration really stand a chance? When we were in our management trainee days, and Renu will remember, Renu and I go back a long way. We really go back a long way, not the Rishi Sunak kind of long way. We joined together as management trainees in our earlier organization. VUCA used to be the buzzword. And we felt like we are the cat's whiskers, talking about volatile, complex, all of that, right? By the way, I came to know that VUCA has been substituted by a new acronym now. I don't know how many of you know. I'm sure Dr. Rao would know. It's called BANI, apparently. I thought he would know, and he knows. Which stands for something like brittle, anxious, non-linear, and incomprehensible. Incomprehensible, I totally get. But anyway. So, but compared to the VUCA that we are undergoing today, the VUCA when we joined in the 90s is nothing, right? The kind of disruption that we saw in the pandemic. To give you a personal example, Infosys is in many ways a very, how would I say, for lack of a better word, a conservative organization, right? We believe in certain things. For example, we have a work from home policy, but we believe in bringing people back to campus prior to the pandemic, right? And then just in the twinkling of an eye, and I'm not exaggerating at all, right? Overnight, we sent people back to work at their homes. We shipped across, I think, close to 3 lakh laptops and computers and modems and what have you, right? It was disruption at a massive scale, which was actually incomprehensible, right? And the incomprehension and the disruption continues. If you see the news that I think had come out in the media a week back, we changed our stance on moonlighting, right? If you had told me 2.5 years that Infosys will change its policy on moonlighting, I would have told you, go take a walk. We're extremely, blinkers on approach, in certain matters at least, certain policies and processes, but we have flexed our stance. So it is disruption in a very, very big way, because that is something very intrinsic to us. So, when I talk about disruptions like this, I was thinking, collaboration, is it something which is kind of other end of the spectrum? Pandemic was all about disruption. And then it also, like a moment of epiphany came to me, that the pandemic, which was probably the biggest symbol of disruption, was also the biggest symbol of collaboration. This 2.5 years, the kind of collaboration that we have done as an organization and many institutions have done is unprecedented. Right from the top person in the organization to somebody in the rank and file, all of us were fighting just to save lives. We were collaborating with hospitals, we were collaborating how to get ambulances to the doorsteps of employees, we were trying to save lives, we were trying to get oxygen cylinders in the middle of the night. Everybody was working, everybody, from the CEO to the HR person was working just to collaborate and ensure we just save lives. So like I think Charles Dickens said, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. For me, the pandemic, while it was the worst of times, for obvious reasons, probably also was the best of times, since it showed us that without collaboration, you simply don't have a chance for bigger problems that Professor Andrew Datta spoke about, or for just surviving in your career, doing best, like Father Uvadi spoke about. Kshitij has been the flagship event for both NHRDN and XIM. In fact, we have collaborated with XIM in the old campus, I think, for two seasons before we came on to the XUV campus, and we're doing this event today. For me, it is a collaboration which has brought out the best in both NHRD and, I'm assuming, in XIM. For me, NHRD is a passion, primarily because long time back somebody had told me that it's important to give back to the profession which gives you your livelihood. And so this is my way of giving back to it. I also, in fact, got my job because of NHRD, but we will save that story for another day. So I think before I run away with the microphone and the MCs come and tell me time's up, what I would like to leave you with probably is that, in this era of creative disruption and agile ecosystem of startups and fail fast and all of that, I think all of us have to give collaboration a chance, whether it is collaboration between people, between institutes like the event shows today, or between countries, because that's the only way, in my view, that are so very big differences will then not remain so big. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for enlightening us with your wise words. I would now request Dr. S. Pepin, respected Dean for the School of Governance and Public Affairs and School of Liberal Arts, to do us the honor to introducing our first keynote speaker, Dr. B.K. Das, Director General, Electronics and Communication Systems, DRDO.
A very good morning to all of you. At the outset, I would like to thank Professor Subra Patnaik for giving me this great honor of introducing, I would call Dr. Das a dear friend of ours, not only mine, but the entire XIM University fraternity. Thank you so much, Professor Patnaik. And of course, I am also reminded of our olden days in XIMB when I happened to be the treasurer of NHRDN chapter. And Ms. Bobby Patnaik, as you all know, she is one of the ablest leaders we have in the field of, not only in the field of human resource management, but in managing people and industry as well. And her commitment to NHRDN is truly, truly amazing. And I am not sure if she is not giving the time that is to be given, NHRDN would be what it is today. Thank you, Ms. Patnaik, for your persistent efforts. Right. I'm going to narrate two incidents to set the context why I wanted to introduce Dr. Das. About 17 years before, Dr. A.S. Narang, the then director of ITR, came to XIMB and he met Professor Snigdha Patnaik. I'm wondering why she's not here today. All right. Then he told her, look, I'm heading a great organization called Integrated Test Range that is popularly known as ITR, and I have excellent scientists, but they're all busy during the mission time, that whenever they launch a missile, that's what they call mission. But when the mission is over, they don't know what to do. So can you come and do something? So that was a briefing given by Dr. Narang to Professor Patnaik. Then she called me, we are good friends. She said, Pepin, what shall we do? There is a demand like this, request like this. Then we met Father Abraham, our then director. Then we told Mr. Narang, we would like to come and have a meeting with all of you. So when we entered his chamber, then we encountered Dr. Das there. Then we thought, he's one of his assistants helping him out, things like that. I mean, we didn't know that he was also a scientist at that time. Right, I'll tell you later. Then in the course of our interactions with Dr. Narang, we felt that Dr. Narang would not do anything without consulting Dr. Das. So that was the first story I wanted to tell you. To say, Dr. Das has been an integral part of the entire management of ITR Chandipur, maybe about 1780 or 20 years before. That is story number one. Story number two, they have an assessment board to promote the scientists. So I happened to be on the panel. It was held in one of the labs in Hyderabad. And Dr. Das was also one of the candidates for his promotion. They have a very interesting system. I wish Dr. Das he could also tell us, because it's very relevant to our HR, not only HR, for all of us, how you promote people, what system that you have in our entire defense establishments. And each candidate was asked to make a 40-minute presentation. And there is a panel of experts, and we were asked to give our views. Of course, I was there from the HR or the OD point of view to give me, because I am not a scientist. And you won't believe, and he stood number one in that entire presentation. I think we should give a big hand to Dr. Das for that. It was an open and highly transparent, exercise, wherein all the lab directors whose candidates were there to make a presentation, and Dr. Das was there. So that is my second encounter with him. And thirdly, when he became the director of ITR, then it was he who was after us saying that, look, now that I am at the helm of affairs, can you people come and do? Then, of course, Professor Andrew and myself, along with Professor Kalpana Sahu, we went and signed an MOU, and we are still having the association going, Dr. Das. Right. So with these few words, let me tell you something about him. This is what has been given to me. I thought I would be getting at least 2 pages to read out, but I am just given 2 paragraphs, Dr. Das. That is the humility of that person. Dr. B.K. Das is an outstanding scientist and is currently serving as the Director General for Electronics and Communication System. Means, he's one of the Director Generals, and morning when I met him, I was telling, look, I wish you become the chairman of DRDO one day, which I believe and hope that will happen soon, and that will be the very pride moment for us in Odisha, of course, for the nation as well, right. Prior to this, he has served as the Director ITR from 2015 to 2020, followed by Director Instruments, Research and Development Establishment, IRD in Dehradun. In fact, when he went there also, he was in touch with us, and we had some collaboration with him as well. He has also been Director, Defense Electronics and Application Laboratory, which is popularly known as DEAL, DEAL. Dr. Das has been an integral part of the Indian Missile Program for the past 33 years. I think that is what is very, very important. I do not have the list of missiles that ITR Chandipur launched when he was there working with Dr. Narang, even as the director of ITR Chandipur, right? I think it is good to have the kind of missiles ITR launched under his leadership. Worked relentlessly towards test and evaluation of various state-of-the-art missile systems. Dr. Das is the holder of Best Graduate Gold Medal and topper of his batch in IIT Kharagpur. Dr. Das, I have coined a small acronym for you, that is EPIC, E-P-I-C. Right, you are an EPIC. E stands for Epitome of Excellence, and P stands for Passionate Learner, and I stands for Institution Builder, and C stands for Courageous Leader. And I remember when we were using appreciative inquiry as the tool for building the culture of excellence in ITR Chandipur, and he had a dream that, ITR Chandipur should be known as the #1 test range in the world. I think he still holds on to that, and I'm sure when you become the chairman DRDO, that will also happen. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, sir, for this illustrious introduction. I now invite Dr. B.K. Das to deliver the first keynote address.
नमस्कार जय जगन्नाथ क्षितिज प्रोग्राम पाई आपण माननको अशेष अशेष अभिनंदन esteemed guests on the dais, Honorable Vice Chancellor in absentia, Father Anthony, the Register XIM, Ms. Bobby Patnaik, HR and Business Leader, Infosys, Dr. Sunil Singh, Founder CEO, Mindstream Consultant, Dr. Andrew Datta, Dean XIM, Dr. Subra Patnaik, ma'am, and very important, my teacher, Dr. Pepin, and all the esteemed delegates, all the management gurus, all the media persons, and all those who has built this great institution, XIM, to be in Orissa and giving one reason for Orissa to feel proud of, that we have a great management institute as a part of Orissa. I'd like to address and thank all of them, right from who built this great institution, up to who are running these institutions, and up to those who are dreaming to take these institutions to be one of the best management schools in the world. My salute to all of them. And of course, my dear loving future management gurus, 300, 400, however are sitting out in front of me, and all those who are watching live, and all those who are around the country getting this streamed video. At the outset, I'd like to thank Dr. Pepin and Suvra ma'am for infecting me to come back to this home. Has been so dear to me, XIM, all along. And it's always a great honor when you get introduced by your teacher. Why I say so? The great point which Dr. Pepin narrated here, I have been his student when he came to teach us those beautiful stories. I still remember the lady carrying the pot with a hole there and all along to the destination and comes back, and after years, you get beautiful garden of flowers around. I still remember the story narrated by Dr. Pepin. You know more than me about him. He's a great storyteller. And through the story, he teaches you management. Unknowingly, you become management guru. I think that's the great thing for a great professor. Thank you so much, sir, for what you are. And thanks for patiently going through my biodata. You said it's humility. I still surprised how it has become so long. The day comes, I would like to read my biodata, only my name. Beyond that should not be. That will be the best achievement and the best happiness I will have. Thank you so much. I must always salute the great hero who has been in my life is, all of you know, Dr. Kalam, who has taught me missiles, who has infected me with missiles, and one of the pioneers who made me what I am today. And I always say Dr. Kalam is with me, his wishes are with me, his feelings are with me, and I try to imbibe every single thing for his great contributions to this great Indian Republic. The other day I was in the flight when suddenly I get a message from Subra ma'am saying that there is a program, Kshitij, all of us want you to be here. And these days I keep getting such calls, but this is one which I didn't think, there is something called instant reaction. Your brain does not work before that your senses work. So my fingers worked before my brain. And I typed it out on WhatsApp that yes, I'm coming. And of course, in a while I understood that I have a big Bell board meeting. I'm the executive director of the Bell, so I need to attend that. And there is a great guy called Murphy. It works when you don't want him to work. And that's exactly happened on the date of 29th. That's today, and I was to be at Chennai. So I had to say a sorry note that I will not be there. I'm explaining how the changes happen and how persons adapt to the changes. She was immediately very fascinated that I am coming, and within 5 minutes she got to know I am not coming. And hats up to her. She adopted the changes very fast and said, sir, it's all right, okay, I understand, I respect your schedules. We will look forward for the next occasion. That's it. But the biggest thing she did, she infected me with XIM. She could come out, I couldn't. I've gone back to Bell, put a word, hats up to them. Meeting got rescheduled. Today morning I was in Chennai, flew back in the early hours, came here, and I'm just able to be standing in front of you. This is what happens. I think there can't be a better change management than this, and I could find a chair there for me, there is a nameplate for me, and my seat is still there. So she has adopted. So I wanted to say two things here. One is called change, and the corollary to that is the adaptability. These two exist together, friends. You are management gurus, I have not come here to teach you management, least in front of my professors. But these are the real life experience which help you to understand what exactly the change is about. And she says, sir, the topic is change management and the change in the workplaces and how we are going to handle the changes. And I think you are the best man because the country is undergoing change, the DRDO is undergoing change. Today morning when I was talking in the breakfast table, my fellow keynote speaker, he was again asking me, sir, a lot of changes are happening in DRDO. Yes, true. Changes are happening in DRDO. Changes are happening in this country. Change is happening in the world. And in fact, change is the only thing which is constant in this world. You understand that? Without change, we don't exist. Change happens everywhere. A lot of talks have happened just now with my professors and others who spoke about COVIDs. Probably COVID is one thing which has explained what is change. And more than that, again my topic, what is adaptability is about. That is what COVID has taught us. There was a time before COVID, probably we didn't think what is called VC. The same TV was there, the same monitor was there, computer is there, network is there, everything was available. But today we understood that we are able to connect each other. I'm lucky that I'm here in person, but 90% of my addresses these days I'm streaming it over VC to every institutions, even to the IITs and IITs, wherever they want me, because the easiest thing is they get me on a call and half an hour is good enough for them to get it, so they get the talk exactly what they would have otherwise got if I stand before you. Who taught us this? This is what the COVID is all about. The connectivity, ma'am told very important thing is about collaboration. This is again another thing, the connecting people is what COVID has taught us. For connecting people, we don't have to be physical. We're still able to be connect with each other because of the system, because of the management. Now how it has happened? Again, I come back to the topic of adaptability. There was no choice in COVID. No choice was given in COVID. Remember friends, if you do a change and choice both starts with C, but they are very dangerously opposite words. If you give a choice, friends, you can't have change. So if you want change, you can't have choice. Very simple. COVID did not give us choice. That's the reason we could change. And we changed for positive. Today, I'm accessible to the whole world. Whoever wants my speech, it's only because of COVID. People just connect, hook up, and they listen. This one is getting live streamed everywhere, the world is listening. It is again because of all that we have learned through the COVID that there is nothing called physical. Virtually the whole world could be on the hand trip, and that's exactly what COVID has taught us. And we were forced to do that. So, no resistance, no secret, the demand happened, we lived up to it. That's exactly what is called change. And trust me friends, every change gives you great things. And we have learned it from our childhood, from our birth. By being a living being, we have changed. We have changed from our birth till today. We are going to continuously change in our life. And if we resist change, imagine where we would have been. And the best example of a change and adaptability, you know what? It's of a girl in a typical Indian system. The moment she gets married, she leaves the house and she goes on to the another culture, another family, another gentleman, and the complete world. Can there be a greatest change compared to that? So much so earlier, even she was forced to change the name. But still comes my next word called adaptability. Hats up to girl. That's why we say, I salute Nari Shakti. No boys probably can do it. But it is the girl who has got so much of the power, they are able to accommodate carrying two families together, carrying the love of two families together, spreading the culture to the two families together. This is the greatest change which the human can ever adapt, accept, and deliver. And that's Nari Shakti. Thanks to all the ladies around the world, all the ladies of my country, who do such things and who give us such a great honor for all of us. Friends, if we come to the management, so much we talked about disruption, but I want to touch upon disruptive management. Probably that is the best management which the country needs today. COVID is the biggest example of disruptions, I explained to you. Everywhere you want a change, the first thing is the disruption, right? Whenever you do a change, there is a disruption. If time permits, 2-3 examples I will give from the missile program. What change has taught us? Such kinds of changes for an organization, friends, is a must to grow. Dr. Kalam always used to say, fifth country syndrome. You know what it means, fifth country syndrome? Whenever you achieve a great thing, our press declares, India is the fifth country to achieve this. India is the seventh country to achieve this. India is the third country to achieve this. He used to tell me, when that day will come, when world will say India is the first country to achieve it. This is called fifth country syndrome of Dr. Kalam. Yes, friends, it will happen. It has happened and it is going to happen. I tell you, when we became the first country, what is that we embraced? All that we embraced is the change. And in future, if you really want to make India the best country in the world on every aspect, all that all of you have to embrace. Mark my word, you have to embrace the changes. A few minutes back I said, change is not a choice. So it is by force. But when it is by force, it's very difficult to force and embrace, right? If I force you something, you can't embrace. That's the step number 2. But as I force you, when it becomes inevitable, friends, embrace it. That's the only way you can make the country to be in the number 1. Any industry, any institutions, any academic facility, everything needs to change. You have to adapt to the changes. Then only we can lead. Whole technology has changed. You have seen those huge computers with vacuum valves, and today it has come to the palm top. All these changes happen in technology. If our mind does not accept it, how do we grow forward? And do you know another thing I'll tell you, very simple thing about change. We have got 2 parts in our body. One is our mind and one is our heart. I'll give you a very simple example. You go to the shop, you see an Apple phone or an Apple laptop. Your heart will say, I should have it because it looks so fascinating. It is so beautiful. But your mind will resist because it does not carry window. It is a Mac system. It is a completely different system. Can I adapt to this? Can I use it? So mind will pull, heart will drive forward. And where heart wins, you win. It is the heart, it is the passion. If it makes you win, then mind will be a slave to the heart. And then you accept the changes. So the change you can embrace, provided you have a connect between your heart and your mind, and follow your heart, follow your passion. You will be the world leader. I'll give you small 2-3 examples. 3 parts in the missile program. First part, when we created a missile, we started with a very simple Devil missile. It's a Russian missile. We started to open up because we didn't know how to make a missile. We just opened up, we understood this is called actuators, this is called propulsions, this is called computer systems, and this is how it flies. A very simple, trivial, wire-guided missile. From there, the mind has accepted the changes to come out of the conventional thinking that India can make missiles. And that is how, friends, we started assembling parts by parts, thanks to Dr. Kalam and all those gurus, that we started making integrated guided missile development program. So much so that a stage came where India started launching the first Agni in 1989. Intermediate range ballistic missile, 750 kilometers. When we launched that missile, the whole world was against us because world was not ready to accept the change. World was not ready to accept a middle-class country like India can ever make a missile. All the bans came, all MTCRs came, all the systems which were there were withdrawn. We were like pushed to one side that as if we are culprits, we have no right to even think. And that is where the mind accepted change to think on our own and realize missiles. Together with academicians, industries, all scientific manpower, India was one to integrate systems, make in your own hand, without the support of the United States, that we will make missiles. We cannot sign MTCR saying that we are not allowed to make missiles beyond 300 kilometers. No freedom it is. We made, we integrated, and accepting all those changed environment, we created missile friends, which all by ourselves could launch and touch the target at 5,000 kilometers. This is what India does. When India goes forward with full of power, this is what the scientific temperament, this is what is the mindset. When you embrace the changed environment, you come out as the best. Second thing I'll tell you, when we created the test range, Dr. Pepin has seen it as he mentioned. When we made a test range, India had no power to create a test range. So we had to buy systems from United States. That's the reason United States controlled us, that if you take systems from us, you make missiles only up to 300 kilometers. We had those systems, so we were helpless. We had multi-discrete components and they were failing left, right, and center. But we had to assemble together. Thanks to our industries, we made systems by ourselves. We created technologies, we made systems, rectified foreign systems, designed our own systems. And do you know, friends, in the turn of event, when I became director of that lab in 2015, by then, this was the only test range in the entire world to have all the test systems designed and developed by its own engineers within the country. Even United States didn't have that. Now I'll tell you the change number 3, which is very personal to me. 33 years in Indian missile program, as Dr. Pepin says, 5 years as director. And he says, to become the world's #1 test range, I would like to tell you, a big team came from South Korea and NASA. They evaluated all around the world, all the test ranges, because they wanted to test their missiles. And one of them, who is from NASA, certified. Across the world, we have seen all the 4 leading test ranges. We have no doubt that ITR is better than NASA and the best test range in the world. I still hold that certificate in ITR. This is what the change gives you. But after 33 years, my heart and soul being in that lab, I told you a few minutes back, there is a difference between change and choice. If you want change, you can't have choice. I had out of the blue, one call from Delhi that less than 24 hours, next day morning, you are required to head another very important lab in Dehradun. You have done a great job in ITR. You have made it at the best in the world. Now it's the time for you to go to some other lab. It is not only the lab. My heart was here. You imagine the pain which I would have got, and with all the bonded emotions around for my families throughout. Families, my extended ITR families, my Balasore family, my Orissa family. It was a shock that this man is leaving. But I had no choice. So I had to embrace the change. Remember the word. I had to embrace the change, explaining my team who were crying that this is a great opportunity. It is a great opportunity because all along great things we did in ITR, people say, you are a homegrown guy hitting century on your own ground. Somebody was giving an example of cricket. I got a chance to play my cricket in a foreign ground. If I hit a century there, Orissa will be proud. Friends, went there, embraced the change, and today, the entire Dehradun is Diwana of Orissa, not of Bikedas. They understand what is Orissa. This is how the migration happens. This is how the feel happens. This is how the love happens, my dear friends. And being there with all the works, by the grace of God, maybe I'm there today as Director General or whatsoever. Dr. Pepin said a lot of big words that he's aiming me somewhere. I don't aim. I don't dream that. What I dream today, that every step which I'm doing, every work which I'm guiding to all my labs with 3,000, 4,000 scientists and people, we should create such great systems in this country that it is not that it will be Atmanirbhar Bharat alone. It will be that India will be the #1 exporter of the defense technology. That's the challenge we have taken up today. Last week I was in Ahmedabad. You'll be very happy to know all around 78 countries were there. They were mad across our technology. They're mad to see that India could do so much. They never thought, because the entire domination of the defense equipments were with those leading countries, which we call at the superpowers. But today when they go to the grassroots level, they understand what this country can do, what this country can produce. Yesterday I was reviewing in Chennai, 32 layers of board with lots of technologies of VLSIs together has been created, designed and developed by this country, by our engineers, that no more import is required from anywhere in the United States. Forget about systems, not even the boards and LRU level components. Today India has gone up to that level, my dear friends. If India has reached this, it is only because such a great change we have all adapted to based on what kind of an environmental change we all faced it about. So my dear friends, when you go forward with these 3 narrations of my missile life, you can understand change is the only thing which makes you successful in life. And remember my word, never have a choice. If you have a choice, you cannot have a change. So you should embrace the change like what I did. If you embrace the change, you will take this country to the best in the world. I will end it. In fact, I wanted to scribble something for you. I did it in yesterday late night, but today early morning I left it in the guest house because of the hurry in the flight. But on the flight, I drafted a few things, which normally I end my talk with. Change, C-H-A-N-G-E. I have expanded it for you. For me, choosing heroism allows new growth every day. This is what change is about. So you all will become hero if you allow all the changes to be embraced around. But friends, at the end I will tell you, everything will change because Albert Einstein had said something. Measure of intelligence is the ability to change. So how much we are going to change? Change your attitude. That's the first important thing. Change your mindset. Make it adaptable. Accept the changed world. Change everything in technology. Change everything in the systems. But one thing you should never change, my dear friends. Remember my word. That is called never change your value system. That is something which should be constant, perennial, your culture within, which is going to take you as the best of the world. If you do this, and another important thing, never change the nature. Never try to change the nature. These are the two things which you allow it to happen. You adapt to it, but never change it. Don't cut trees. Don't create pollutions. Don't spoil this beautiful world. Don't waste water. Remember, this is the only planet God has given you. There is no second home for us. It is you, the next generation. You have to drive this world to preserve the nature, to maintain the nature, and adapt to the nature. Hold your value systems. Rest of the world you change. You are the change givers. You are the main changers for the world. I am sure in future you are going to give us a great world, a new world, and a fantastic world to live in, which all of us will be proud of. May God bless you. Thank you so much, Xavier's, for giving me this great opportunity to come here and share my views. Thanks for all the love and affections. I can never forget when I landed up, the warmth which all of you have shown. You have driven me back to those great days of missiles. Thanks a lot. Love you all. Bande Utkal Janani. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. I would now like to take this opportunity to introduce our next keynote speaker, Dr. Sunil Singh. Dr. Sunil Singh is the CHRO of Stella Value Chain Private Limited. He is also the founder and CEO of Mindstream Consulting. Dr. Sunil is a PhD from IIM Bangalore, having 25 years of experience in the HR and IR with groups and businesses in diversified industry. As CHRO, Dr. Sunil has transformed Cadila Pharmaceutical to a great place of work certified organization. He's an associate certified coach from ICC. Thank you for joining us today, sir. Now, I welcome Dr. Sunil Singh to deliver the second keynote address.
Very good morning to all of you. Honorable Father, Dr. Andrew, B.K. Das sir. It was giving the goosebumps hearing every word from you. So much of achievement. And all the faculty members, all the students. Coming to a college gives me always a feeling like coming to home, because I grew in a family of academicians. My grandfather was a teacher, my father was a professor. I also did my PhD from IIM Bangalore, so got lots of chance to interact with the academia. Even my work in the corporate have a touch of that. So what Dr. B.K. Das said about change is the only constant. But he also talked about the value system. While we do everything else, don't change the value system. When Dr. Andrew started, he talked about what kind of pandemic is likely to be expected, how we are facing more and more kind of weather-related distractions. And possibly we will see more of that in the coming days. And then B.K. Das talked about we have only one world.
please preserve it. I represent Stellar Value Chain, which is one of the fastest growing 3PL company. It's a third-party logistic company. We have about 15 million square feet of warehouses. We do business across industries. We work for Flipkart, we work for Miso, we work for Nykaa, we work for Tata Motors, Sun Pharma. You just name it, we work for almost everyone. Our presence is right from the Coimbatore to the Banur in the Punjab, and now we got yesterday Pepsi. Also in our kitty, Pepsi will be in Sangrur. So we have warehousing for everyone. So that's about the organization which we represent. We call it a speed industry. We are into a business of speed. So whenever all of you order through Flipkart or the Zepto or the Zomatos or the anything, whether it's the Dasara or the Deepavali, we are all working to make sure that your orders are delivered in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or in a day or a half day, depending on what's the turnaround time. So that's the industry I represent. So in the flight, when I took up in the morning around 5:45 flight was there, so I thought I will do something, some PPT, and make it interactive for all of you. I don't like monologues. I will not keep it monologue. So can you go ahead? So there is something about me, and for me, when we have to think about the change, all of us say that it's a changing work, changing workplace, future of work. Go back and see the articles of something around 1939. Go back and see the articles which were in the newspapers of 1938, 1937, 1936, when the Industrial Revolution was starting, and maybe early 1800. All those times, it was the same thing. It's changing very fast, it will replace human beings. It is changing so fast that all of us are going to be replaced. Even in our days, when the computerization started, we remember late 1980s. In the banks, there used to be the pen down strike and all kinds of strikes that, okay, computerization is so bad. That was the age of the Rajiv Gandhi, Sam Pitroda, who brought the computerization to the country. Why I'm referring to all of this is that actually you can't beat the change. So there will always be some people who will say that change is coming, these robots will replace me, AI will replace me, everybody will be replaced. Believe me, evolution of 5.3 million years, human being has not been replaced so far, and they will never be replaced. AI is our creation, it will remain our creation. So let's embrace this. So now why this timeline? This is my timeline. I have a very fascinating kind of a journey. I started from a village where my grandfather was there. Till my class 5 I was there. What I remember from that is that my school didn't have the benches. I just used to carry the gunny bag, bora. I used to sit there, kids playing in the field. We used to watch the aeroplanes going deep, high, very high. You can't even see. Probably it was not near to any kind of flight path. So you can only see the thin line of the white smoke. And in the village, we used to say that it's a suya jahaj. Sui is the needle, because you are only seeing the needle, right? So coming from that place to here, I think I have seen changes. I have been to my farms during the monsoon, putting all the cow dung in the field, in the bullock cart. So I started from there. Then moved to a place called Jumri Tilaiya. Most of people know for that Sibaka song and Binaka song and the Geetmala, the Farmais comes from there. Jumri Tilaiya was famous for that. So why I'm saying this, there is a workplace which was a farm. So I saw that workplace. my grandfather will get up in the morning, go to the farm, come back, have the breakfast, then probably in the afternoon will go at his own volition. There is no boss kind of guiding him, that in the farm something is waiting for you, go and do the work. So that's also work, right? So that's the work I saw. Then I saw the second work when I shifted to the place Jumritile, where my father was a professor of economics. So I saw a set of working there. Then I saw a set of working when I joined XISS, where I started interacting with the industry professionals. That was a time when lots of MNCs were coming to India. So we interacted with the guys from GE, Cisco, a new kind of work culture I got introduced to. Then came the era, that was also a time when the computerization and everything was happening. We saw the computers, many of you would not have seen the B drive. How many of you, can you know what's about the B drive? Can you raise the hand? So that tells that all of you are the future. Probably Professor Dr. Das will know what was the B drive. The large floppy, it was a flexible plastic kind of a thing. Then there was the A drive. Then you had the CDs. We saw pagers. And probably in a span of about, 5 to 7 years, it all vanished. By the time we started using pager, I don't know where it went. By the time I started using floppy disks, the B drive and the A drive, it lasted only MECL, my first job, in Nagpur. That was the public sector. That was again another experience. Many people say that public sector, you don't have much of the work. Till now, I don't think in any other company I had got the challenges which I got there. I was able to reduce the manpower from something like 6,000 to around 2147 when I was leaving to join IIM Bangalore. I was in charge of VRS. Then I joined IIM Bangalore, did my PhD from there. I will tell one story from there. Very interesting one for all of you, that how did I choose my PhD topic? So for almost like 2 years, I thought I will do my research on leadership. So I had enough of the printouts like this high in my room on leadership. But then I was taking a course with Professor Saurav Mukherjee. And we had a discussion on a simulation paper by March and Simon. In that paper, there was a very interesting question. So I will give you some background on Professor Mukherjee. He was the IIT Kanpur topper, IIM Bangalore topper, went to the BCG on day one, came back teaching. He was my age. So one of the youngest professors there. Question in that paper was that who tops the class? Is it the student who knows the subject, or is it the student who knows the teacher? What will be your answer? How many are with the first one, who knows the subject? Can you raise the hand? Answer in the simulation was, who knows the teacher? Saurabh, being Saurabh, topper throughout, he thought that it's offense to him. And the class which was supposed to be for 90 minutes went for 3 hours. And that day I decided I will do my thesis on this subject. And the subject was that what happens because of the socialization pressure in the organization to your proactive behavior. That's a very interesting thing. That it's more about the socialization pressure. Another example from the same paper I will share with you. Suppose me and B.K. Das sir, both of us join the organization. Both of us are trained into knowledge in Unit 1 to knowledge Unit 10. Right? This was a simulation about who gives more to the organization. Is it the average people or is it the high IQ people? So when we join any organization, high IQ people pick up what gets rewarded here. So, okay, I'll not take his name, I'll take Arup's name. So Arup being a very high IQ person, he'll figure out that, okay, here the boss gives the praise when I show 2 and 3 knowledge unit. So from day one, he starts getting praise because he's showing 2 and 3. He's not even showing that he knows 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, till 10. Probably other person, me, I don't know that what gets rewarded. I have not still caught that. And this is important for all of you as well, that when you will go for your first job, try to figure out what gets rewarded. So other person shows the behaviors number 3, knowledge unit 3, knowledge unit 4, knowledge unit 6, and boss tells, boss, what are you showing? Only 2 and 3 gets rewarded here. Why are you showing me 4, 5, 6, 7? But this gentleman, at the cost of rebuke, is adding to the knowledge bank of the organization. So who actually adds to knowledge bank is the average IQ people, not the high IQ. High IQ people will figure out what gets rewarded, give the performance what is desired, move on. Why they will move on? Because they feel that they also know 4, 5, 6, 7, which is not accepted here. Therefore, to learn more, they will still move on. They will still move on. So I thought I will share this story with all of you. This will be important for all of you. Then, can we move from there? Okay. Let's stay. Dasser talked about the change and the choice. So before we come to this one, this is a poll for all of you. In Reliance, when I was in Reliance, I was working on a digital transformation. And the project was that, can I promote digital learning with all the people? And I was facing lots of challenges. Everybody was like, okay, learning can happen only in the classroom, in an auditorium like this, right? Or maybe in some other classrooms. Learning cannot happen on the digital platforms. And I was the one who created our university. It was the corporate university for entire Reliance. And I started a learning festival called Spectrum. A Spectrum have all the colors, right? But there is one thing out there, that we will celebrate every form except classroom. So probably, so this is where I am referring to Mr. Das here. That when you have to change, you have to take the choice out of the table. What I did, I locked the classroom for 2 years. No one will go to classroom. No classrooms will be scheduled. There are lots of you and cry that you are a demon. How can learning will happen out of classroom? But we promoted everything. We promoted webinars, experiential learning. You go out, have a learning in the garden, but not in the classroom. QR code, holo, everything we tried. But we took the choice out of the table. It's like an addiction. If you are addicted to one form, you have to take it out of the... Till the time that is available, nobody would have accepted it. So that's very important. So that was, then our actually digital learning went up dramatically. Now coming back to the theme of, so we are talking about changing work, workplaces, right? Can all of you have the Mentimeter in your mobile phone? You have? Can you read the numbers, or is it visible out there? If you can. 39823463. I will repeat, 39823463. Okay? So first question here is, which three words comes in your mind when you hear future of work? You can type any three words which comes to your mind. Are you able to get the code? No, you're not able to? Okay, so no, I'm getting. People are typing. I think you are not able to. Can I connect my mobile to this? Is possible? Mobile to the projector? No. Okay, so no issues. But I am able to see here. So good, keep going. So I thought that I will make a presentation, but I think audience knows it all. So why to make a presentation? So, okay, good. So while all of you are typing, the three words are not changing: technology, hybrid, and flexible. Still, technology, hybrid, and flexible. Another word which is coming is flexibility, which is same. Then I'm getting, still it's the same: technology, hybrid, flexible. One is coming work-life balance. Now it started coming innovative, empathy, adaptability. Okay. Let's talk about this. So we talked about flexibility, we talked about technology, we have talked about hybrid, we talked about work-life balance. Let's go back to the story. I talked about 1938, 1936, I talked about human evolution. Actually, why we are working the way we are working, why Stellar exists, why DB Shankar exists, why Infosys exists, why XIM exists, why organizations exist. Unless until we ponder about that, we will not get to the idea that where we are going. So, cut the story short, initially human being came up, they were attacked by tigers, lions, they have to survive somehow. They got into groups, but they used to get food whenever they wanted, right? But they decided when to get food. Perfect so far? But population kept growing. At some point of time, guild system emerged. So you had the shoemaker, you have the smith, you have the barber, different people. But again, those people used to work whenever they used to like. Not like have a shop or have a chain of salons. No, they don't have that. They were the masters of their job, right? What that tells you? That tells you that human being by nature wants to control their work. Then the kingdoms emerged. So they enslaved people, but mark the word enslaved people. So people were enslaved and they have to work for somebody else. Did they like it? What the history tells us? History tells us no, they didn't like it. Many a times rebellion happened if they were not treated well. Then the population further increased. Now we have no option but to mass produce, right? So mass production happened, all these guild went out, and then the technology took charge, and now we are into this era. Why now this future of work and change of work is important? Why it was not important in 1960? Why it was not important in 1970? Why it was not important in 1990? Why suddenly this is being talked about? Answer to this is here. Because for the first time, technology is giving you back your flexibility as a human being. At no point in the history of technology, it was able to give the human being their freedom. So far, technology evolution has happened to control the human beings. Now, I can sit in any corner of the world and work. It was not possible earlier. Now, it is possible for me to change my career altogether at any stage of my life. Was it possible earlier? Earlier, it was of the single career, single organization career. It was supposed to be bad if you change jobs, a lot of jobs. CVs were rejected when they see many changes in your career, right? Now technology is giving you that. What kind of organizations are emerging? You have organizations like Upwork. How many of you have heard about Upwork? Okay, two. Can you tell if you can be louder so that everybody knows what is Upwork? Okay, I will tell for. So Upwork is a platform where lots of gig workers are there, thousands and thousands of, and they are working on the global projects, and many of them are earning money more than a regular career. That is emerging. So many of our colleagues, you will say they're not working. I had a friend in Reliance. He used for Accenture for almost like 15, 20 years. He never stepped out of his house. He never stepped out of his house. He changed job once to Reliance only for the sake of the physical feeling that I will meet some people physically. So that's the reason this change of work we are talking about. Now come to the next question. Next question is, you can use the same code and answer there. Which three words comes to your mind when you hear future workplaces? Work we talked about, that okay, it's more about hybrid, it's more about flexible, it's more about being empowered, feeling that we are the owner of our work. What will happen to the workplaces? Which are the three words comes to your mind? And don't worry, I just have 3 questions, and that's where it all ends. I'll not take longer time. Okay. Moon, hybrid, agile, Mars, adaptable, space. Agile, adaptable is the leading right now. Okay, so that gives the fair idea. What will happen to the workplaces? Before I talk about that, I will talk about 2 theories. Most of my interventions are guided by 2, 3 domains. One is economics, second is sociology, and third is anthropology. Economics comes in my family. My sister, my father, everybody was economists. So, why organizations exist? Which theory explains that? Anyone? Why we have organizations? Which economics theory explains that? It's agency theory. So there is a master and there is a servant. But the master does not believe the servant. Therefore, master has agent. Master does not believe that agent as well. Then has another agent. That's what in nutshell the agency theory is all about. That's why the hierarchy exists. That's how the organizations were formed. But then came a theory somewhere around 1970s sometimes. And the gentleman was Williamson Coase. His thesis was the smallest in the world. And he got a Nobel Prize for that. It was just 1 page. And which theory was that? That was a transactional cost. That was the basis of all the outsourcing. That's the reason why the Infosys exists, that's the reason why the Wipro exists, that's the reason all the Indian IT companies exist. That's the reason all the gig work can be explained. It says that anything which can happen trustfully, cheaper in the marketplace will always be outsourced. Because in the agency structure of organization, you will always have a more and more and more cost added to produce the same thing. Simple to understand. I'm not talking the economics language so that everybody can understand. Right? But that's how all the outsourcing has started to happen. The whole basis of outsourcing was that. And that's the theory will prevail more and more because now we have the AI, the machine learning, the blockchains, because now I can trustfully outsource my job to 10 things using blockchain and nothing will happen. So the problem which agency has gone away with the technology. Right? So that's the reason outsourcing happens. So future of workplaces might not be the traditional form of organizations. Let me summarize that piece. What it will mean that many organizations will flatten. What we have seen in last about 10, 15 years, track the balance sheet of any large organizations, their revenue has gone up, manpower numbers have largely remained same. So revenue curve is like this, manpower will be like this. But as the technology will take more and more charge, your manpower numbers will start going down. The future of workplaces will not be the traditional set of organizations. Organizations will evolve. And to some extent, logistics for us, we represent that way. We don't own the warehouses. We don't own the workers. We don't own the goods. We don't own the truck which comes to our warehouses. It's all rental agreements through which we work. We own nothing. We have to say about 7,000 people, but core team is just about 500 people. That's it. 500 people driving countrywide operation of 7,000 people. That will happen. You will see many organizations which will be very dispersed, have no manpower on their role. You will have organizations like that. Coming to the last question. In your view, which 5 words describe the business implications? In a way, we answered in the last one. All of you can write down the words, what it means for the businesses, what they need to do, if these are the things going to happen, if the flexibility will come, if the hybrid will come, if technology will overtake, if organizations, systems, the structures will change, what it means for the businesses. Last question. I'm saying development, growth, profit. Okay? So I will talk through these 3 words. What was earlier not possible is possible now. And when I say what was not earlier possible, hyper aggregation was not possible. No organization could single-handedly could have catered to every human being on the earth. That was not possible earlier. It was unimaginable. Today, situation is like in every sector, there are global organizations emerging. More and more consolidation happening. Lots of value chain getting disrupted. That's where the profits and growth will emerge. Anything else? So this is the growth and profit part. But what for all of them to manage all of you? Society is not the same. I want my freedom. I don't want to be enslaved. They have not treated me well during COVID period. They fired me. Right? I'm talking about it from the employee perspective. While they earned profit using my blood and sweat for 20 years, 30 years, filling their coffers, they could not sustain me for 2 years. That's what the employee is saying. Right? How they are taking the revenge? They are taking the revenge that, boss, I will be the owner of my skill. why I should stretch for you 14 hours? Why I should stretch for you 16 hours? The implication comes here. Now organizations have to go overboard to get the commitment of the people. Traditional methods will not work because they have broken the trust globally, not only here, globally. That's where the resignations are coming across, right? That's where the Upwork is gaining ground. Now people are saying that's where the moonlighting debate is coming from. Organizations are taking different positions on this. But what the employee is saying is this: I work for organization, I make your profit, you as the organization decide to park it somewhere else, open another organization. I have no say in that. Then why I should give my time beyond the allocated time to you? This debate is more shriller in India, but it's very common when you go to US, UK, having 2 jobs, 3 jobs parallelly is very okay. But no one can stop it. Policies can be made, it will be more contract-oriented, everything, but this is how things will be. So this debate is going to be longer, but we are going to be... So these are the 3 questions through which I thought I will share with you, all of you, my views at what will be work, what will be future of work. There is one video if you can play. With that I will end. It's a video by a futurist. Just play this. Every time I see this video, it tells me that, okay,
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future, 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen, the future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wise words. On behalf of School of Human Resource Management, XIM University and Zimar, I now invite Dr. Shubhra Patnaik, faculty member, School of Human Resource Management, XIM University, to felicitate our dignitaries. On behalf of NHRDN Bhubaneswar chapter, I now invite Ms. Bobby Patnaik, Vice President, NHRDN Bhubaneswar chapter, to felicitate our dignitaries.
As we move forward, I would like to take the opportunity to announce the magnanimous launch of HR Expert, the annual magazine of Zimar, the HR Association of XIM University. Each year, Zimar puts forth a wonderful amalgamation of insightful articles on the relevant development in the fields of HR and also summarizes and acknowledges the exemplary stories of its students and alumni. I would request all the dignitaries to kindly come forward and formally release the magazine for everyone. Thank you everyone for doing the honors. With this, we come to the end of the inauguration ceremony. I thank each one of you for your valuable time and for joining us to mark the beginning of today's grand event. Now we take a short break. I request you all to be back for the panel discussion by 12:15 a.m. I request the students to be seated as the dignitaries take our leave.